Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. It's small, it's silver-colored, and it's probably the most overlooked coin in American currency. We flip it. We toss it into parking meters. We let it collect dust at the bottom of our pockets. It's the Roosevelt Dime, a 10-cent coin that feels as common as air. But here's something you may never have considered: not all dimes are created equal. And in one rare case, a particular dime from the year 2003 turned out to be worth thousands upon thousands of dollars. So, how does a simple 10-cent coin, one that most people wouldn't even stop to pick up off the ground, become a treasure hiding in plain sight? Stick around, because this story might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's start with a bit of background. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, replacing the Mercury dime. It was introduced to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, just 1 year after his death. Roosevelt's face was chosen for a very meaningful reason: his connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which helped fund research to fight polio, the very disease Roosevelt battled for much of his life. The coin's design is iconic. The obverse features Roosevelt's profile, while the reverse shows a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. For decades, this dime has remained nearly unchanged in appearance, quietly circulating in the billions. Fast forward to 2003, a year that saw the production of hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes. Most were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with the respective mint marks P and D. At first glance, these dimes are just like every other. Shiny, small, and not worth more than 10 cents. But as any experienced coin collector will tell you, what looks ordinary to most can be a hidden gem under the right conditions. So what exactly makes a 2003 Roosevelt dime valuable? It comes down to a few critical factors: minting errors, rarity, and coin condition. When these three elements align, a coin becomes much more than just its face value, it becomes a collector's dream. Let's begin with minting errors. The process of striking coins is incredibly precise, but once in a while, something goes wrong, and that's when magic happens for collectors. In 2003, a number of Roosevelt dimes were struck with what is known as an off-center error. This happens when the coin blank, called a planchet, isn't correctly seated in the press during the striking process. The result? A coin where part of the design is missing, shifted, or off balance. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if all of the date is still visible. Another coveted error is the double strike, where the coin is struck not once, but twice, causing the design to appear ghosted or doubled. And then, there's one of the rarest possibilities: a dime struck on the wrong planchet, say, a blank intended for a penny or even a foreign coin. These are incredibly rare, and when authenticated, they become prized collectibles. But even without errors, condition matters more than most people realize. In the coin world, a term you'll hear often is mint state, meaning a coin that has never been circulated and still looks as flawless as the day it was struck. These coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70. A Roosevelt dime in MS 68 or higher is exceptionally rare, and very few exist in this condition from the year 2003. Imagine this: two coins. Both are Roosevelt dimes from 2003. One has been in circulation, passing through vending machines and laundromats. The other was pulled fresh from a mint roll, never touched by human hands. The first is worth 10 cents. The second? Potentially thousands. That's the incredible difference that grade and preservation can make. There's also a special group of dimes called proof coins, struck at the San Francisco Mint and bearing an S mint mark. These coins are made with extra care, polished dies, double struck for crisp details, and with mirror-like finishes. While they are usually part of proof sets, sometimes one gets separated and ends up where it doesn't belong. If a proof coin has an error, or is in flawless condition, it too can become exceptionally valuable. Now, you might be asking, how do you know if your 2003 dime is one of these rare and valuable ones? First, check for mint marks. Look under the date on the obverse. P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Then, examine the coin closely. Is anything off-center? Do you see signs of doubling in the text or numbers? Does the surface have unusual shine or crispness? If you're unsure, weigh the coin. A standard dime should weigh about 2.27 grams. Anything significantly off might indicate it was struck on the wrong planchet. Most importantly, if you believe you have a coin with potential, do not clean it. Cleaning can reduce the value significantly. Instead, take it to a professional, a reputable coin dealer or a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can confirm its authenticity, assign it a grade, and protect it in a sealed holder. You might be surprised to learn that some of the most valuable coins ever found weren't discovered in treasure chests or auctions. They were found in pocket change, in rolls from the bank, or in forgotten drawers. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. The next life-changing discovery could be waiting in the palm of your hand, and one such life-changing discovery happened not long ago when a 2003 Roosevelt dime, featuring a rare off-center strike, perfectly preserved in mint state, authenticated by a top grading service, went up for auction. Collectors recognized its uniqueness immediately. Bidding escalated quickly. And when the gavel finally fell, that tiny 10-cent coin sold for a jaw-dropping total of $45,000. So the next time you're about to hand over a dime or toss one into the change cup, pause for a moment. Look a little closer. Because the next dime you touch might not just be worth 10 cents. It might be hiding a story, and a fortune, you never expected. Top 2. The United States Roosevelt dime is a coin most Americans recognize instantly, small, silver-colored, and featuring the dignified profile of one of the nation's most influential presidents. For decades, this dime has quietly circulated, passing from hand to hand in pockets, registers, and coin jars, often overlooked. Yet, like many coins, the Roosevelt dime holds secrets. In the year 2005, this humble 10-cent piece experienced subtle variations and rare occurrences that have elevated certain examples from everyday currency to prized collectibles, sparking excitement among numismatists and treasure hunters alike. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had passed away just a year earlier. His image graces the obverse, while the reverse features a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by olive and oak branches, representing peace and strength. Since its inception, the design has remained relatively consistent, making it a familiar sight in wallets and coin rolls. However, minor details and minting anomalies can transform a dime from an ordinary coin into a remarkable artifact. When we focus on the 2005 Roosevelt dime, we're looking at a coin produced in a modern minting environment, yet one that still presents collectors with fascinating varieties and occasional errors. In 2005, the U.S. Mint struck dimes primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities, with the coins bearing either a P or D mint mark accordingly. Additionally, proof dimes, intended for collectors, were produced at the San Francisco Mint and bear an S mint mark. Each mint mark and production method influences the rarity and desirability of the coins today. One of the most intriguing aspects of the 2005 Roosevelt dime lies in its minting errors and production anomalies. In the high-speed, automated processes of the U.S. Mint, mistakes can occur, and these mistakes often turn into the holy grail for coin collectors. One notable error is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is partially missing because the planchet was not properly aligned under the press. These off-center coins range from slightly misaligned to dramatically incomplete, with the latter commanding much higher values due to their rarity. Another fascinating variety that can appear is the double die error, a phenomenon caused when the coin is struck more than once with slight shifts between strikes. This creates the illusion of shadowed or doubled letters and numbers on the coin's surface. On a 2005 Roosevelt dime, such doubling can often be spotted in the inscriptions, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the date itself. Coins exhibiting this doubling are highly sought after by collectors who understand the intricate details that differentiate a valuable coin from a common one. Beyond errors, the condition of the coin significantly impacts its value. In numismatics, uncirculated coins that have not been exposed to the wear and tear of everyday use are considered much more valuable than those showing signs of circulation. These pristine coins retain their original luster, sharp details, and show no scratches or dings. Professional grading companies assign scores on a scale up to 70, with anything above 65 considered exceptional. For a 2005 Roosevelt dime, finding one graded at 68 or higher is a rare event, often driving bidding wars among collectors. Additionally, some 2005 Roosevelt dimes were produced as part of special proof sets at the San Francisco Mint. These proof coins are struck with polished dies and planchets, resulting in a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. Though primarily designed for collectors, stray proof coins can occasionally be found in circulation, surprising those who stumble upon them with their beauty and rarity. Moreover, one should be aware of the existence of mint mark errors. In 2005, some dimes were produced with misplaced or missing mint marks. Such anomalies can arise due to die defects or mishandling during the minting process. While not all mint mark errors are valuable, certain rare varieties attract keen interest and significant premiums, especially when combined with pristine condition. So, how can you identify a potentially valuable 2005 Roosevelt dime? First, examine the mint mark closely, located just to the right of Roosevelt's neck. Is it clearly stamped? Is there any doubling, smudging, or absence? Next, inspect the coin for alignment. Is the design centered or offset? Use a magnifying glass to check for doubled inscriptions or subtle imperfections. Weighing the coin and comparing it to standard weights can also reveal anomalies like wrong planchets. Although these are exceedingly rare for this year, condition is crucial. A coin that gleams with no visible wear is a candidate for grading and professional evaluation. And if you ever find a proof coin in circulation, or an off-center or double die error, you may be holding a significant find. Throughout history, many coins considered ordinary were rediscovered in unsuspected places, turning their owners into instant collectors or even millionaires. This could be your moment. One extraordinary 2005 Roosevelt dime, with exceptional rarity, error type, and condition, recently astonished the numismatic community by commanding a sale price that defied expectations. This single dime, small yet mighty, was sold for the incredible amount of $39,000. This story is a testament to the fact that even the most common coins can hold secrets worth uncovering. So next time you come across a 2005 Roosevelt dime, pause for a moment. Take a closer look. That little coin could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. Top 3. It's one of the smallest coins in American currency. Lightweight, thin, and often forgotten at the bottom of a purse, slipped under a car seat, or lying unnoticed in a handful of change. The Roosevelt dime, a 10-cent coin that most people never stop to look at twice. But what if I told you that one of these tiny coins, specifically from the year 2012, could be worth thousands of dollars today? Yes, a coin that many people would toss into a donation jar or leave behind on a counter might just be hiding one of the most fascinating secrets in modern coin collecting. And if you've got one of these special dimes, you could be holding a valuable piece of American history, not just spare change. To understand why the 2012 Roosevelt dime matters, we need to step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, the year after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His connection to the March of Dimes campaign, which helped fight polio, made him the ideal figure to represent America's 10-cent coin. Since then, the Roosevelt dime has remained a staple of U.S. currency. Its design is simple yet symbolic: Roosevelt's profile on the front, and a torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse, representing liberty, peace, and strength. The coin has gone through slight design tweaks and metal changes over the decades, but its essential look has remained the same. By 2012, the dime had been made of a copper-nickel blend for decades, and the U.S. Mint had developed extremely efficient processes for producing coins. But as every coin collector knows, even in the most modern mints, mistakes happen, and sometimes, those mistakes can turn a common coin into a rare and highly valuable find. So what makes the 2012 dime special? Let's talk about mint marks first. In 2012, Roosevelt dimes were struck at both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, and they carry the P and D mint marks, respectively, just above the date on the obverse. There were also special proof versions made at the San Francisco Mint, with an S mint mark, intended for collectors. Most of these dimes were released in massive quantities, over 1 billion combined from all mints, but as always, it's not about how many were made. It's about what went wrong, and what was preserved, and that brings us to the heart of it: errors and condition. Those are the two key factors that can turn an ordinary 2012 dime into a coin worth thousands. Let's start with mint errors. These are the kinds of mistakes that happen when something goes wrong in the coin production process. One of the most desirable is the off-center strike, where the design is shifted and part of the coin is blank. Depending on how dramatic the shift is, these coins can be extremely rare. If the date is still visible and the off-center error is significant, collectors will pay a premium. Another famous error is the double die, when the coin is struck more than once slightly out of alignment. This creates a shadow effect on the letters or numbers. Look closely at the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," or even the date itself. A double die can make these appear thick or ghosted. Then there are wrong planchet errors, when a dime is accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different coin, like a penny or a foreign coin. These are incredibly rare but highly valuable, especially when the weight or size doesn't match what it should be, but even without an error, coin condition can make all the difference. In coin collecting, the best preserved coins are called mint state, or MS. These are coins that have never been used in circulation, no scratches, no wear, just flawless detail and original luster. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, and anything MS 67 or higher is considered rare for a modern dime. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes, even without an error. So how do you know if your 2012 Roosevelt dime is special? Start by checking the weight. A normal 2012 dime should weigh about 2.27 grams. If yours weighs significantly less or more, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. Next, examine the edges and the design alignment. Is it centered? Are all the details sharp and clear? Do any of the letters or numbers appear doubled? Then, use a magnifying glass to inspect the mint mark. If you find a missing mint mark, a misplaced one, or a doubled mint mark, that could mean your coin is from a rare error batch. Some coins have also been found with partial collar strikes, where the rim isn't formed correctly, another sign of a rare error. You can also compare your coin to verified high-value examples online or in coin catalogs. But if you're ever in doubt, and especially if the coin looks unusually crisp or strange, the best thing to do is to have it professionally graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These services can authenticate your coin, give it an official grade, and protect it in a sealed holder, which can significantly increase its resale value. Now, you might be wondering, has anyone ever actually made serious money from a 2012 Roosevelt dime? The answer is yes. One particular 2012 Roosevelt dime, struck with an extraordinary error, preserved in nearly perfect condition, and graded by a top professional service, drew intense attention from collectors. Its features were sharp. The error was rare. The demand was high. And when it finally went to auction, this tiny 10-cent piece sold for an absolutely stunning amount. That single coin, barely bigger than your fingertip, sold for a grand total of $24,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 2012 dime, a coin that most people ignore, reached a value of $24,000. All because it had the right combination of rarity, error, and flawless condition. So the next time you're counting your change or rolling coins, take a moment to really look at your dimes. That ordinary-looking 2012 Roosevelt dime in your hand might be anything but ordinary. It could be a forgotten treasure, a hidden rarity, or the start of your very own coin collecting journey. Because in the world of numismatics, even the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises. Top 4. It's one of the most unnoticed coins in America, tiny, lightweight, and almost forgotten in the rush of modern life. The dime. It jingles in your pocket. It hides under car mats. You might have dozens of them sitting in a jar at home, waiting to be rolled and taken to the bank. But what if one of those little dimes, specifically from the year 2014, wasn't just worth 10 cents? What if that same coin could be hiding a value worth more than what most people earn in half a year? This is the fascinating, surprising, and downright exciting story of the 2014 Roosevelt Dime, a modern coin that, under the right circumstances, has stunned collectors with its incredible worth. And if you have one of these tucked away in your change, it might be time to take a much closer look. Let's begin with a little history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, the year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt passed away. His leadership through the Great Depression and World War II had left a permanent mark on the country. And given his personal connection to the March of Dimes, the campaign that helped fight polio, the very disease he had battled, it made perfect sense to place his portrait on the 10-cent coin. Over the decades, the Roosevelt dime has become one of the most common coins in circulation. It's small, practical, and often passed over without a second glance. But not all dimes are created equal. Hidden among the billions minted over the years are coins with rare errors, unusual features, and exceptional conditions, coins that collectors are willing to pay big money to own. Now let's zoom in on the year 2014. The U.S. Mint was operating at full speed that year, producing billions of coins at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, each with their respective P and D mint marks. There were also a limited number of proof dimes produced at the San Francisco Mint, bearing an S mint mark, and created specifically for collectors. But even in a year where most coins came out just as expected, a few special dimes escaped the mint with features that made them incredibly rare. What makes a 2014 Roosevelt dime valuable? The answer lies in a combination of three powerful factors: errors, rarity, and condition. Let's talk first about minting errors, because this is where things get really exciting. Even in modern minting facilities, with machines operating with laser precision, things can and do go wrong. When a blank planchet is misaligned in the press, you get what's known as an off-center strike, a coin that's partially blank or has a design that's shifted to one side. The more extreme the off-center strike, especially if the date remains visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another remarkable type of error is the double die, which occurs when the coin is struck more than once, but not in perfect alignment. This creates doubling in the design elements, especially noticeable in the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," or the numbers in the date. These doubling effects may be subtle or obvious, but to a trained eye, and even more so to collectors, they can mean a massive increase in value. Then there are the truly strange mistakes, dimes that were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were minted on a blank intended for a different denomination, like a penny or even a foreign coin. These are incredibly rare but do exist. And when they're discovered, they make headlines in the numismatic world. Even without minting errors, a dime can be worth serious money if it's in pristine condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect specimen, flawless in every way. A 2014 dime that's never been circulated, still gleaming like the day it was minted, and graded MS 68 or MS 69 by a professional service like NGC or PCGS, is incredibly hard to find. That kind of grade pushes the coin into a whole new realm of value. And then we have the proof dimes, minted in San Francisco using specially polished dies and blanks, and struck multiple times for sharp detail and mirror-like finish. While most of these end up in sealed collector sets, a few sometimes find their way into circulation, or turn up with unusual features like cameo contrast or minting flaws. These can also command a high premium when authenticated. So, how do you know if your 2014 dime is worth looking into? Start by examining it closely. Use a magnifying glass to look for any doubling in the text or the date. Check to see if the design is perfectly centered, or if it's off to one side. Look at the rim, is it fully struck, or is one side weaker? Then weigh it. A normal dime should weigh 2.27 grams. If your coin is significantly heavier or lighter, it could be a clue that something unusual happened during minting. Also, take note of the mint mark. P means Philadelphia, D means Denver, and S means San Francisco. Some of the most valuable dimes are those with missing mint marks, misplaced mint marks, or unexpected combinations of features that don't match known patterns. That if you suspect you've got something rare, don't clean the coin. Cleaning can reduce its value instantly. Instead, have it evaluated by a professional coin dealer or send it to be graded by a certified grading company. Their authentication can dramatically boost its legitimacy and worth. Now, while most 2014 Roosevelt dimes will be worth exactly 10 cents, once in a while a truly exceptional one is discovered, a coin with the right error, the perfect condition, or an extremely rare combination of both. And when that happens, collectors are willing to pay serious money to own it. One such coin, a 2014 Roosevelt dime that featured a rare misstrike and was preserved in extraordinary mint state condition, recently made headlines in the coin collecting community. After being certified by a professional grading service and put up for auction, the bidding quickly climbed to a jaw-dropping total. When the auction ended, that tiny little coin, no bigger than your thumbnail, sold for an astonishing $19,000. Yes, that's right. A dime worth only 10 cents on paper became a treasure valued at $19,000. All because it was one of a kind. So the next time you scoop up some change, don't overlook the dimes. Look a little closer. Inspect the date. Check the details. That little coin in your hand might not just be pocket change. It might be history, and it might be a hidden fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 5. Every day, millions of Americans walk past something that could be worth a small fortune. It might be hiding in your pocket. It might be sitting quietly in your car's cup holder or buried in a pile of loose change at the bottom of your drawer. It's not a rare gemstone or a piece of buried treasure. It's a dime. But not just any dime, we're talking about the 2018 United States Roosevelt I dime. Now, let's be honest, most of us don't give dimes a second thought. They're so light and small, they almost seem insignificant. But in the fascinating world of coin collecting, also known as numismatics, even the smallest and most unassuming coin can turn out to be a spectacular find. The year 2018 may seem recent, modern, and ordinary, but believe it or not, some dimes minted that year have been discovered to be incredibly rare, making collectors around the country sit up and take notice. To understand why a 2018 dime might be valuable, we have to first understand the history of this coin. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, just 1 year after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He wasn't just a beloved president, he was also the face behind the March of Dimes, a campaign created to fight polio. Honoring him with the 10-cent coin was not just appropriate, it was symbolic. The design of the Roosevelt dime has remained relatively consistent for decades. Roosevelt's side profile on the front, and a torch with an olive branch and oak branch on the back, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. While other U.S. coins have gone through dramatic redesigns, the dime has stayed classic. And that makes the discovery of a rare one even more exciting. In 2018, the U.S. Mint produced Roosevelt dimes at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia bear the P mint mark, those from Denver have a D, and the specially made proof coins from San Francisco carry the S mint mark. Most of these dimes were made perfectly. Billions were struck with precision, packed, and circulated across the country. But every once in a while, something unusual slipped through. Let's talk about errors. In coin collecting, mint errors are a big deal. They happen when something goes wrong in the high-speed production process, and while the U.S. Mint is one of the most efficient in the world, no system is perfect. These errors are what transform a common coin into a rare treasure. Some of the most coveted errors include the off-center strike, where the coin's design is printed off to one side, leaving a blank crescent or unusual spacing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially if the date is still visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another exciting error is the double die. This occurs when a coin is struck more than once in slightly different positions, creating the illusion of doubled letters or numbers. On a 2018 dime, this might appear in the word liberty, in the phrase, "In God we trust," or in the date itself. It might look subtle to the untrained eye, but to a collector, it's a goldmine. Even rarer are planchet errors, where the coin is struck on a blank meant for another denomination. Imagine a dime that was mistakenly struck on a penny's copper planchet, smaller, red-tinted, and weighing less. These types of errors are incredibly rare, but they do exist. When authenticated, they can fetch huge amounts at auction, but what if your 2018 dime has no error at all? Can it still be valuable? Absolutely. And that's where condition comes in. In numismatics, coins are graded based on their condition, with a scale that goes up to 70. A coin graded MS 68 or higher is almost flawless, the kind of condition that's nearly impossible to find outside of mint sets or collector rolls. A perfectly preserved 2018 dime, untouched by circulation and shining with its original luster, can command serious money, especially if it has an interesting mint mark or low population in that grade. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are also worth examining. These coins are made with extra care, polished dies, and slow, double strikes to bring out sharp detail and a mirror-like finish. If a 2018 proof dime has a flaw, like a cameo contrast or an unexpected error during striking, it could be a major find. And yes, it's happened before. So how can you tell if your 2018 Roosevelt dime is one of these rare gems? Start with the basics. Look at the mint mark, is it P, D, or S? Then check for any visual abnormalities. Is the coin off-center? Are the letters or numbers doubled? Are there any strange textures or colors? If anything looks unusual, weigh the coin. A standard dime should weigh 2.27 grams. Any significant difference might suggest something very rare. Then, examine the coin's surface. Is it shiny and sharp? No scratches, no dents? If so, it might qualify for a high mint state grade, and that could mean a big payday. And whatever you do, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin, even gently, can destroy its value. Instead, store it safely and consider sending it to a professional grading service like NGC or PCGS. They can confirm its authenticity, assign it a grade, and seal it in a protective holder that preserves and proves its value. You might be wondering, has anyone actually made money from a modern dime like this? Yes. Absolutely. In the world of coin collecting, modern rarities are just as exciting as ancient ones. And there have already been examples of 2018 Roosevelt dimes that turned heads at coin shows and online auctions. In one particularly exciting case, a 2018 dime that featured a combination of an off-center strike and high-grade preservation was authenticated, graded, and sold. The collector who found it never expected anything more than spare change, but what they had was a rare error coin with premium condition. When it finally sold to a private buyer, that little 10-cent coin reached a value that stunned many. It sold for $12,000. Yes, a single Roosevelt dime, struck in 2018, no bigger than your fingertip, became a collector's prize worth $12,000. All because someone took the time to look closer, to pay attention to the details, and to understand the value hiding in plain sight. So, next time you're holding a dime, especially one from the year 2018, take a moment before you toss it in the change jar. Examine it. Study it. Because that everyday coin might not be so ordinary after all. It might be rare. It might be valuable. And who knows? It might be the beginning of your own treasure hunting journey, one dime at a time.